Hello and welcome. You're watching Explosive Exclusive. I'm Padmaja Joshi. It's been 2 days, 2 states and 2 back-to-back controversies that have again left INDI red-faced. It started with some evolved people claiming that the Congress's win in Telangana and BJP's sweep in the other 3 states and the results that came out this Sunday showed how politics of North and South is distinct and divided. Then it became worse with DMK MP Senthil Kumar yesterday declaring inside India's parliament that only Gurumurthy states or cow urine states choose the BJP. Then to top it all, the BJP also produced an old interview of Congress's chief minister designate in Telangana to show how Revanth Reddy called Telangana's DNA superior to the DNA of people from Bihar. Revanth Reddy had actually made that remark in response to a question that his ABVP antecedents are being mocked by the BRS. To that, Revanth Reddy said that at least his DNA is from Telangana as opposed to KCR's ancestors who were originally Kurmis from Bihar. He then went on to say that his own Telangana DNA is better than the Bihari Kurmi DNA that KCR has inherited. Needless to say, the BJP has picked up on all of these controversies to allege that the utterances may be different, that it may be one thing for Karti Chidambaram to say South when Telangana wins. It may be another thing for Senthil Kumar to talk about Gurumurthy states and issue an half-hearted apology. And it may be a completely different state where Revanth Reddy puts up a dichotomy between Telangana DNA and Bihar DNA. But at the very core, there is a contempt for other Indian cultures, and it's symptomatic of what they call a tukre-tukre or divisive mindset.
जिस व्यक्ति को आप तेलंगाना का मुख्यमंत्री बनाने की सोचते हैं, उनका बयान कि तेलंगाना के डीएनए बिहार के डीएनए से बेहतर है, ये राहुल गांधी की मोहर इस बयान पर लगी है क्या? सोनिया गांधी जी की मोहर लगी है क्या?
Our Honorable Prime Minister predicted that these parties in the India Alliance, the Congress Party, who are bereft of any ideology, are going to get even more desperate and are going to plumb new lows in terms of the divisive politics that they will represent. Throughout these elections, they try to divide people amongst caste. So this is all part of a deliberate strategy, a desperate strategy by the Congress. And at every stage of this desperate strategy, you see a studied silence by Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. Our party will oppose it, will expose them, and more than us as a party, the people of India will certainly not tolerate this kind of divisive politics.
मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने वाले राहुल जी अब दक्षिण भारत उत्तर भारत को आपस में लड़ाने की बात कर रहे हैं। जिस शंकराचार्य ने पूरे देश को, वो भी दक्षिण भारत के थे, उन्होंने एक किया कि जब स्टालिन के लड़कों ने सनातन को समाप्त करने के लिए कहा था, तो ये इनकी सहमति थी। भूले नहीं, हम गौ को और गौ माता को और गौ माता के मूत्र को भी हम सम्मान करते हैं, पूजते हैं। सनातन से मत टकराओ, सनातन भारत की पहचान है। जो टकराएगा 2024 में वो साफ हो जाएगा।
Well, remember, in the aftermath of the Sanatan slander controversy, a lot of people had advised caution. Clearly, those cautionary statements have fallen on deaf ears. Joining us on the show as Gurumurthy, editor of Thuglak, I want to start by asking you, sir, do you think there is something principally different with the politics of the so-called South India and the so-called North India?
See, I cannot understand what these political parties are talking. Particularly, I am pained and distressed at the way the Congress is handling this issue. Because personally, I was associated with the Congress as a student and even after I qualified as a chartered accountant. Possibly that is the only political party in which I worked. I had not joined any other political party. The entire DNA of the Congress under Kamaraj, of course, under Nehru previously, and even under Mrs. Gandhi, was to fight this divisiveness. In fact, Mrs. Gandhi, in spite of the fact I disagree with her on many issues, she brought the DMK itself to the mainstream politics. The DMK had started off with a very explosively divisive ideology, anti-national, anti-Hindu, anti-North, anti-Hindi, anti-Brahmin. This was the sum and substance of the DMK ideology. But it had very capable and intelligent leaders to soft land the DMK from this ideological, explosive DNA it had. And Annadurai first gave up the Dravidian separatism, which was a very remarkable decision by a leader who was sworn to divide the country into two. It required enormous amount of capability and also political sagacity to do that. He did it. And then Karunanidhi, equally and perhaps a more capable political mind in the country, had he been born in a place like UP, he would have been the prime minister of the country. He had that kind of competence. He managed this difficult ideology to ensure that the cultural, political, social separatism, which was inherent in the DMK, did not get into the DMK's all India political line. And he was the man who fashioned the coalition politics in which the DMK participated. But what is surprising is the Congress taking positions similar to the DMK. This is what is shocking to me and very bad for the country. Even today, if you compare the number of votes the Congress gets in the south, southern 4 states, and in the north, the Congress gets more votes. Maybe 60% of the Congress votes are in the north. How do they say? Simply because there is a flip of loss in Chhattisgarh and winning Telangana, that there is a divide between north and south. I think it is a very ridiculous kind of proposition that they have expounded now unable to explain why this loss and win. I think it's foolish.
But the Congress doesn't back the statement. Congress has, to be fair to them, completely distanced itself. They have said right from even Karti Chidambaram to Dinesh Gundu Rao, you name it, all of them have said, we respect other people, you should not use words like Gaumutra. Then why is the Congress being rammed for it?
No, I am not talking about that aspect. I am talking about North and South, which was started by the Congress. See, North and South can never be an issue. That South was in the vanguard of the freedom movement. Culturally, South has been the most enlightened geography from which Adi Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, and Ramanujacharya, they went around and built the country into a common mind. They found the common way. And how can that be separate? And all the sacred places of the people in the north or in the south. All the sacred places of the people in the south or in the north. And there is no, you may have divisions in politics. When Mrs. Gandhi won all the seats in the southern 4 states and lost all the seats in the northern states, she never said, I am a Tamil southern party. She is a nationalist. She saw this as some kind of a attitudinal difference between South and the people of the North for her rule. That's the most important thing. The intensity of the emergency, she realized, hit her in the North. It did not hit her in the South. So, is there such a situation where the Congress won all the seats in the South and all the seats in the North? It is just only a flip of this Telangana versus Chhattisgarh. So I am not saying the Congress is part of the Gaumutra and other kind of low politics. I am not even getting into it. It is very natural to the DMK to abuse the Hindus, the North, the Hindi, and there was a time when even taking chapati was supposed to be abhorrent in Tamil Nadu. It is their politics. But they are slowly coming out of it. But at that time, if you bowl a full toss, that it is South versus North, somebody picks it up and goes forward to restate their ideology.
It's interesting you mentioned the fact that all of the South went to the Congress in the aftermath of the emergency. Do you think that is a kind of situation that is before the Congress again, where they are increasingly increasing their footprint in the South but are being rejected in the North of India? Are we back in that phase of politics?
It is not correct at all. See, the BJP and the Congress are the real contesting parties in the so-called North, except UP and Bihar. Leave it aside, UP and Bihar got mandalized. I was very actively involved in politics at that time. And once it got mandalized, the loss was that of the Congress. The BJP was able to recoup the losses through the Ram Janmabhoomi movement in a way that consolidated the connection between all the castes. Otherwise, this country would have had a bloodbath in caste war. That is a different thing. This made the BJP replace the Congress in the North, particularly in UP and Bihar, in Punjab, in Haryana, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. Take all these states. Who is the main contestant against the BJP? If the BJP loses tomorrow, who is going to be the winner? Will that mean that it will become a northern party at that time? It's such a foolish thing to say that because in an election you lose in a particular geography and you have not even gained in the South. You gained only 2 states. In 2 states, you do not exist actually. In Andhra and Tamil Nadu, Congress doesn't exist. And what exists are 2 regional parties. And in Kerala, of course, Congress is up against the communists, but the dominant force is communist. So it is not that the geography of South is reserved for the Congress and the North has rejected the Congress. And it's such a foolish theory. In fact, I'm surprised that the Congress leadership is listening to all this and keeping quiet. In their larger interest, they must come out with a massive statement reinstating their position. My respect for the Congress had always been that it is a symbol of it was at least a symbol of political unity of India. When Mrs. Gandhi broke the Congress, Ramnath Goenka went and told her that you have done a great sin by breaking the Congress, which was synonymous with the country. And she said, Mr. Goenka, are you my friend or my enemy? Then Goenka said, the choice is yours. That is how the battle between Goenka and Mrs. Gandhi started. But that was a personal difficulty in which Mrs. Gandhi was at the time. But she was dividing the Congress, but not the country. But what the Congress is doing in trying to compromise with its allies, who have a very difficult and different ideology, instead of mainstreaming them, the Congress is getting distracted into their ideological position.
Let me be very blunt, because we heard not just what the DMK MP has said, but the Congress's own chief minister now in Telangana pretty much said the same thing, saying that I have a Telangana DNA, he has Bihari Kurmi DNA. Has the Congress now metamorphosed or evolved into, from what was a national party and what you called a nationalist party, to the ideology of more regional and parochial parties? For Revanth Reddy to make comments about Bihari DNA versus Telangana DNA.
From when Mr. Revanth Reddy became a congressman, simply because somebody is in the Congress, because somebody is in the Congress, you take his opinion to be a Congress opinion. Let us assume Mallikarjun Kharge has said this. Then it may mean a person who had spent his life in the Congress is saying this. This man has been a fellow traveler for the last 5-6 years. And so what he says, he is only replaying a personal assault on him. You know, the same personal assault was there against Karunanidhi and M.G. Ramachandran. They were both born and bred and evangelized into politics by the Dravidian ideology. When MGR became the chief minister, Karunanidhi began accusing him as a Malayali. So Kerala was very much part of the Dravidian geography. And he counterattacked Karunanidhi as an Andhra because there are substantial pieces of evidence if you put together that his family came from Andhra. So it became a big issue. But that was not an issue which will have ramifications for the Congress. And the Congress must counsel this Revanth Reddy, don't go into all this. Congress has a responsibility. BJP and Congress have very special responsibility for the country. And I think the BJP, having grown to different geographies of India, has acquired the pre-independence qualities of Congress. This is my study of the BJP. But the Congress is moving away from the pre-independence values, like for instance rejecting Vande Mataram. And Bharat Mata Ki Jai also it was unwilling to say before some time. And distancing itself from the Hindu moorings which actually built the freedom movement. These are all the ideological foundations of the Congress. And it has ceded them to the BJP. It is not the BJP's fault. The Congress ceded and the BJP took. But my counsel to the Congress is the Congress should never give up its nationalist and comprehensive approach to all the regions of India.
We'll wait and see if that counsel will be taken. Mr. Gurumurthy, as always, pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Taking a very quick break. On the other side, we tell you for the second day there has been a meeting which is currently underway.